Hello friends, myself Dr. Brijesh Mishra. Here I am going to explain you sampling theorem. This particular topic comes under the subject of signals and systems. So before we start this particular topic, sampling theorem, we should know about some fact related to this theorem. Our first question is why we use sampling theorem. So in any digital communication system, when we want to transmit any analog signal over any digital system, we need to convert any analog signal into digital signal because analog signal does not support digital system. So here we need a converter, and this converter basically convert your analog signal into digital signal. It means for any digital system, here we have analog signal because originally we have only analog signal. Okay, but we want to transmit this analog signal over digital system, then we have to convert this particular signal into digital signal, and this digital signal like 0 1 0 1 1, any signal, this is your output. At the input end means source output, this is your analog signal, and this analog signal may be represented as x of t, and this analog signal is basically defined at every value of t, every value of t, t1, t2, t3. It means for all value of t, your x of t is defined. This is our original signal, and example of analog signal like our speech, voltage, temperature, etc. Any signal. So originally we have only analog signal, and for digital system we need to convert into this form 0 1 0 1 1, like this. Okay, so to convert this analog to digital signal, here we should use sampling. Question is that what to do sampling. So basically sampling is basically process, and this sampling may convert any analog signal into discrete signal. What do you mean by discrete signal? This discrete signal basically defined at particular value of t, not all value of t. Okay, it means at t is equal to t1, at t is equal to t2. Okay, and amplitude will change accordingly, x t2, and here this is your x t1. Okay, so this analog signal amplitude is defined for all value of t, but this discrete signal amplitude is defined at only a specific value of t. T is equal to t1, t is equal to t2, etc. Okay, so conversion of this analog into discrete is known as your sampling. And a discrete signal, amplitude of discrete signal is defined at specific, after a specific interval, and this interval is known as Ts. Ts is what? This Ts is basically sampling period. When we transmit any analog signal or any massive signal over any digital system, then we want to reconstruct, then we want to receive original masses at the receiver end. Okay, so here so many process is involved in between transmitter and receiver. Okay, so question is that when we convert any analog signal into discrete signal like this way, is it possible to reconstruct or recover our this massive signal? So question is very specific. Means our motive is very clear. We want to transmit this particular signal over a digital system by using some intermediate process, by using some methods, and after this method our original signal is conserved or not. Ultimately we want our this message signal x of t. So to reconstruct message signal m of t or x of t, here we have to apply condition on ts. Condition on ts is basically f of s is greater than or equal to 2 times of fm. This condition is known as sampling theorem. Why only this condition? Because there is also another condition. Fs is less than 2 of fm and fs is equal to 2 fm. Okay. So we will see all these three conditions in our next slides, next discussion. Why we use only this and not this. So to recover our original message signal, we'll use only this condition. It means our sampling theorem states that any band limited signal can be reconstructed back when we use sampling frequency greater than or equal to twice of the message signal frequency. Okay, it means this fm basically represents that maximum frequency component of x of t or message signal. Okay, so fm is your maximum frequency component and fs is your sampling frequency. So this condition is very important because this condition is derived after sampling theorem. If go in detail and to derive this particular case, fs is greater than or equal to 2 fm, here we have to consider frequency domain analysis. In frequency domain analysis, basically we'll use Fourier transform. So first point is your delta signal. Mathematically this delta signal is defined as infinite at t is equal to 0 and 0 at t is not equal to 0. Okay, so this is mathematical definition of del of t, and graphically it is represented like this. Okay, so here your del of t amplitude and this axis represents t. But area bounded the curve means del of t over time d of t, this is equal to 1. It means area of this particular impulse is always equal to 1. This is a very important property of any delta signal, del of t. This delta signal is directly related to impulse train signal, and it is represented as del t minus n ts. Okay, capital T, del t minus nts. Okay, and graphically it is represented as like this. Here when we vary this n from minus infinite to plus infinite, basically this n is what? This n is your integer value or number of sample, and if n is equal to 0, this impulse, when n is equal to 1, this is your t of s, n is equal to 2, 2ts, n is equal to 3, this is 3ts. Okay, similarly here minus of ts and minus 2ts. Okay, so these impulses are separated by t of s. So finally we can say that this impulse train signal is your periodic signal, and period of this signal is what? T of S. Period is what? T of S. And already we have discussed about this T of S means f of S is greater than or equal to 2 times of f of M. So while sampling, we have to apply condition on this particular TS. So TS is important for us. It means time period. It means this impulse signal is what? Periodic signal. So next point is, because here I am going to discuss about Fourier transform of this particular signal. It means here next point, point number 3 is Fourier transform of del t minus and ts. Okay, it means what? Or periodic signal. According to formula of Fourier transform for a periodic signal, this is what? X of t is equal to summation of n is equal to minus infinite to plus infinite Cn e to power j n omega naught t. Okay. So this is what? This is basically representation of any periodic signal. Okay. So we can represent any periodic signal like this way. But here we want to find out the Fourier transform of this particular x of t, because x of t is what? Periodic signal. Okay. And we know that Fourier transform of 1 is equal to 2 pi del omega, right? Similarly, Fourier transform of C of n, that is equal to 2 pi del omega into Cn. And similarly, when we use Fourier transform of Cn e to the power j n omega naught t, means Fourier transform of Cn e to the power j n omega naught t, that is equal to 2 pi Cn del omega minus n omega naught. And Cn is what? Cn is basically Fourier transform of periodic signal for one cycle. So Fourier transform of x of t is equal to x j omega, and that is equal to summation n is equal to minus infinite to plus infinite 2 pi Cn del omega minus n omega, and that is equal to 2 pi summation n is equal to minus infinite to plus infinite Cn del omega minus n omega naught. So by using this identity, we can directly calculate the Fourier transform of del t minus n ts. Okay. So this is what? This is your periodic signal. Okay. And we want to calculate Fourier transform of this particular signal. It means Fourier transform of this signal is what? 2 pi summation n is equal to minus infinite to plus infinite Cn and del omega minus n omega s. Why omega s? Because here I am using t of s. It means omega s is equal to 2 pi divided by t of s. Okay. So ts is what? Sorry, Cn is what? Cn is basically a Fourier transform of periodic signal for one cycle divided by t of s. Okay. And this is what? Fourier transform of delta signal. Fourier transform of delta signal. That is equal to 1 divided by t of s, because we know that Fourier transform of any delta signal is equal to 1. It means C of n is equal to 1 divided by Ts. Finally, Fourier transform of impulse train signal is equal to 2 pi. Cn is equal to 1 by Ts. It means 2 by Ts. And summation n is equal to minus infinite to plus infinite del omega minus n omega s, that is equal to 2 pi divided by Ts is what? Omega s. Summation n is equal to minus infinite to plus infinite del omega minus n omega s. So this is what? This expression is Fourier transform of impulse train signal, means del t minus nts. So while discussing of sampling theorem, we'll use this particular identity. Okay, so Fourier transform of impulse train signal is this. Next point is your fourth number point, and in fourth number point is band limited signal. What do you mean by band limited signal? For sampling theorem, we will use only band limited signal. Okay, because the band limited signal can be reconstructed back only. Okay, so here we use only band limited signal. Okay, so what do you mean by band limited? Band limited means here suppose that I'm using any analog signal, that is x of t, and a Fourier transform of this band limited signal is like this. This is your Fourier transform, and this is minus of fm, and this is your fm. Okay, here suppose that amplitude is a. Okay, and this is your x j omega. So band limited means bandwidth of Fourier transform of this particular signal is what? Fixed, means finite. Okay, so bandwidth is equal to 2fm. Okay, so in our discussion we will use band limited signal as a transmitted signal, as a message signal. Okay, so in our discussion we'll use this band limited signal. Next point is what? A representation of periodic signal. Next point is fifth number point, a representation of periodic signal, or del t minus n ts. Okay, so any periodic signal can be represented as like this according to Fourier series. X of t is equal to a naught plus summation n is equal to 1 to infinite an cos n omega naught t plus summation n is equal to 1 to infinite bn sin n omega naught t, where a naught is equal to 1 by t. This is t is your time period, integration over t x of t. An is equal to 2 divided by t, integration over t x of t cos n omega naught t dt. Bn is equal to 2 divided by t, integration over t x of t sin n omega naught t dt. So I'm interested to calculate or represent this del t minus n ts in this form, because this is our periodic signal, and this periodic signal, because this impulse train signal is look like this. So this is periodic signal, and this periodic signal is a event signal. Okay, so impulse train signal is also an event signal. Okay, so if x of t if x of t is even signal, then your b of n is equal to 0. If x of t is your even, okay, and if x of t is odd, then a naught is equal to a n, and that is equal to 0 for odd signal, okay, by using what? Integration property. Okay, when we integrate over time interval for even signal, then bn is equal to 0, and for odd signal, a naught and an is equal to 0. Okay, so particular this case, this impulse signal is your even signal. It means what? bn is equal to 0. What about a naught? A naught is equal to 1 divided by t integration over t del t minus and ts, and this is your ts. Basically time period of this signal is what? Ts. Okay, so what happened here? And this is your dt. So for this particular ts, area under the curve is equal to 1, because this is what? Delta signal. So when this t is equal to nts, okay, this is what? 1. It means area under the curve is equal to 1, and this delta is only defined at t is equal to nts. So a naught is equal to what? 1 divided by ts. So this is your 1 divided by ts, a naught. Similarly, an is equal to 2 divided by ts, and here ts del t minus n ts cos n omega naught t dt. So for this interval, this particular ts, area of this signal is also equal to 1. Okay, area bounded the curve is 1, and here when we consider, basically what? When we consider n is equal to, because this value is defined is equal to t is equal to n ts. Okay, t is equal to n ts, and n is equal to t divided by ts. Okay, when we use this value here, value here in cosine function, n is equal to t by ts. Okay, when we integrate this an value, okay, an over time interval ts. Okay, so here 2 by ts integration over ts del t minus n ts cos n omega naught t dt. Okay, so this is your delta signal, and value of this delta signal is equal to 1. Okay, because area bounded the curve. Okay, and here t is equal to nts. Your t is equal to nts. Here omega s and ts, omega s into ts is equal to 2 pi, because omega s is equal to 2 pi divided by ts. So omega s into ts is equal to, this implies that omega s into ts is equal to 2 pi. Okay, so here uh, cos 2 pi n. Okay, so cos 2 pi n is what? 1. So finally we'll get value of an. Value of an is equal to 2 divided by ts. Okay, so while solving these values, a naught is equal to 1 by ts, an is equal to 2 by ts, and bn is equal to 0. Okay, so these are the values. These values are basically what? Fourier coefficient. Okay, after getting the values of Fourier coefficient, a naught is equal to 1 by ts, a n is equal to 2 by ts, and b n is equal to 0. So here del of t minus n ts is equal to a naught plus summation n is equal to 1 to infinite an cos n omega naught, here omega s, will use omega st plus summation n is equal to 1 to infinite bn cos n omega s t. So if bn is equal to 0, this term is equal to 0. Okay, so here after putting the values of a naught and an, this impulse train signal can be represented as a naught is equal to 1 by ts, okay, and an is equal to 2 by ts, and the summation n is equal to 1 to infinite cos n omega s t. Okay, so this expression is represented as this periodic signal t minus and ts. Okay, so this is all about point number 5. How can we represent any periodic signal in terms of DC signal and cosine signal with the help of Fourier series? Okay, so in our previous discussion about why we use sampling impulse train signal del t minus n ts and delta signal, Fourier transform of train impulse signal del t minus n ts, okay, band limited signal, and finally Fourier series representation of del t minus n ts. Okay, so these are our facts to proceed for derivation of sampling theorem. So here we should keep in mind these points. So this is your sampling theorem. Sampling theorem states that any band limited signal can be reconstructed back when we use this condition. Okay, so this condition is very important. Okay, fs is greater than or equal to 2 times of fn. Why only this condition we'll discuss later. Sampling is basically divided into three parts. First is your impulse sampling, second is your natural sampling, and third is your flat top sampling. In these three methods, we basically vary nature of impulse signal. In this case, we use impulse signal with zero pulse width. Okay, here we'll use some finite pulse width like uh, f naught for this particular case. Okay, so pulse width is omega naught. This is omega naught. Here we also use omega naught pulse width of this particular signal, but here differences in these two signal, case number 2 and case number 3, is only uh, top surface of the pulse. Okay, here we'll use some slope curve, but here we'll flat the curved surface. Okay, why we use flat surface of the simple signal? Because at this surface it is the possibility to mix any noise. Okay, means mixing of the noise in this is easily possible. So to avoid any mixing of noise, we'll use this nature of the pulse. It means flat top sampling. So uh, generally for a specific purpose, we'll use flat top sampling. So for better understanding about sampling theorem, we'll consider this method. Okay, all of our discussion of sampling theorem remain same for all these cases. Only nature of impulses are varying. Okay, so I'm going to discuss about impulse sampling. This is our master signal. This master signal is what? Band limited signal. Band limited signal. Okay. Band limited signal means Fourier transform of this signal is what? Having finite bandwidth. It means bandwidth is equal to 2 fm. Okay, so this is called as band limited signal. For sampling theorem, uh, we have to use only band limited signal. Basically, because of we can construct only band limited signal. Okay, so here this is your band limited signal. This is your impulse signal. Impulse train signal. Okay, and here we'll use sampler. Sampler means product modulator. When we multiply these two signal, train impulse signal and master signal, will get discrete signal. This is what? Discrete signal. Discrete signal. Okay, this discrete signal is basically amplitude of this analog signal. Amplitude of this analog signal is defined only specific time interval, and this time interval is what? Ts. Ts is equal to sampling period per sample. So to reconstruct our original master signal from receiver end, we have to apply some specific condition on this Ts. Okay, so condition on Ts will gives you sampling theorem. So this is what? Discrete signal. Okay, sampling theorem. What to do sampling theorem? Or sampling basically convert any analog signal into discrete signal with the condition of fs greater than or equal to 2 times of fm. Fourier representation, already we have discussed about Fourier representation of this del t minus nts signal, because this is your periodic signal. So Fourier representation of this signal is like this. Already with the help of Fourier series concept, we can represent this periodic signal into this form. Okay, so this is your Fourier series representation of del t minus nts signal, means impulse train signal. Okay, because here I'm going to explain sampling theorem in frequency domain. Okay, frequency domain. That is why we are interested about this function. Okay, so this impulse train signal is finally represented by this. When we vary n from minus infinite to plus infinite, basically this n is what? Integer value. Okay, so n is equal to 1. This is what? 2 divided by ts cos omega st. When n is equal to 2, this is cos 2 omega st. N is equal to 3, cos 3 omega st. Okay, so sampled signal is what? Multiplication of your master signal and your impulse signal. Okay, so multiplication of master signal and impulse signal will give you what? Sampled signal, means that this is your discrete signal. Okay, so finally we can expand this particular expression. Okay, 1 by ts, because we know that the value of this impulse signal is 1 by ts, 2 by ts cos omega st, like this. Okay, so we'll multiply this m of t in whole expression, mt divided by ts. Okay, and 2mt, like this multiplication of this 2. Okay, 2mt cos omega st, 2mt cos 2 omega st. Okay, so means what represent this signal? This is what? This is your only master signal. Okay, complete master signal. And this master signal m of t is basically modulated by omega s. Okay, and again the master signal is modulated by 2 omega s. Next expression, your master signal will be modulated by 3 omega s, etc. Okay, so already I have discussed about Fourier transform of master signal. Fourier transform of master signal m of t is what? Band limited signal. This is your minus fm to fm. Here I'm not interested about amplitude, okay, because for sampling theorem we'll discuss only frequency component, not amplitude, okay. So here I'm going to skip this particular part, amplitude. Here I'm interested only frequency component, okay. So Fourier transform of this massive signal is like this, okay. So band limited signal, and this is a bandwidth of this, the spectrum is what, 2 FM, okay. Next is what, this is a Fourier transform of cos n omega st. Fourier transform of cos n omega st is what, pi del omega minus omega s plus del omega plus omega s. It means when we draw this Fourier transform, okay, so we'll get two pulses at omega is equal to omega s and omega is equal to minus omega s, okay. So one plus at omega is equal to omega s, and next pulse is omega is equal to minus omega s, okay. So Fourier transform of this cosine is what, like this, okay. And similarly here we want to represent, basically this is what, this whole function is in time domain, okay, time domain, okay. And we want to draw a spectrum of this time domain signal, okay. So we have to calculate, we have to draw the Fourier transform, Fourier spectra for m of t, and Fourier spectra for cos omega st, okay. Already we have explained you Fourier spectra of m of t and Fourier spectra of cos omega st, okay. So this particular m of t is only modulated over omega s, modulated over 2 omega s, modulated over 3 omega s, okay. So here this m of t is what, m of t, this is your massive signal, spectra of massive signal is this, okay. And here maximum frequency component is minus fm and plus fm, okay. So the spectra of fm is massive signal is this, okay. And this massive signal is modulated over omega s and minus omega s, because spectrum of this cos omega s is what, minus omega s and plus omega s. So this massive signal is basically superimposed on omega minus omega s and plus omega s. So this whole massive signal will superimpose on f of s, okay. So if this is f of s and we know that this width is what, omega s, okay, or sorry, omega m, or in frequency term this is your fm. If this is fs, this coordinate will be fs plus fm. Similarly this distance is also equal to f of m, so and this point is fs, so finally this value is what, fs minus fm, okay. So continuously we can draw all spectra for omega is equal to uh, 2 omega s, omega is equal to 3 omega s, like this, okay. So whole spectrum can be represented like this, okay. But our master signal is what, at transmitter end we transmitted only this signal, okay. This is our master signal, okay. And at receiver end we are interested about only this, not this whole, okay. So this is spectra of sampled signal, and the separation between two adjacent corner of the spectrum is known as guard band. This separation is basically known as guard band. It means this separation is what, distance between two adjacent edges, okay. What will be the value? This value is equal to fs minus fm minus fm, fs minus fm minus fm, that is equal to fs minus 2fm, okay. So this is what, guard band is equal to fs minus 2fm, okay. And here we applied three different cases. When guard band is 0, it means this guard band is 0, this guard band is greater than 0, and this guard band is less than 0. If guard band is 0 means what Fs is equal to 2fm. Guard band is greater than 0 means Fs is greater than 2fm, and guard band is negative, it means Fs is less than 2fm. Okay, what happened in these three conditions? Okay, let's see. This is your first case. In first case, if Fs is equal to 2fm, Fs is equal to 2fm means guard band is equal to 0. Guard band is equal to 0 means distance between two edges equal to 0. It means these two edges will be touching to each other. Okay, right? So in this particular case, if guard band is equal to 0, all adjacent edges will be touching to each other. Okay. But our original message signal is what? Only this, or only this. Okay. When we apply filter, low pass filter basically, okay, to reconstruct our message signal. Okay. So here in this particular picture we used two filters, ideal filter and practical filter. In ideal filter, this is your ideal filter. Okay, and in practical filter there is what? Roll off on the edges. Okay, so realization of ideal filter is very tough. Okay, so in practical purpose we basically assume practical filter, not ideal filter. Okay, so in ideal filter, okay, we can reconstruct this message signal. Okay, so at the output we'll get our message signal. Okay, for the case of ideal filter. Okay, but for the case of practical filter, okay, for the case of practical filter there will be mixing of adjacent edges. Okay, so output will be what? This. Okay, so it means originally we transmitted only this signal, but will receive this extra signal. Okay, so there will be what? Noisy signal. Okay, so we should avoid this signal. So this particular case is only eligible for ideal filter. Okay, so when we use ideal filter, we can reconstruct, we can recover our message signal, and this condition is also known as Nyquist rate. Okay, when your guard band is greater than 0, guard band is greater than 0, it means what? There is some finite guard band distance. Okay, so finite guard band, it means what? Edges will be separated to each other, right? Okay, so there is some specific gap, some sufficient gap between two message signal. Okay, so when we apply any ideal filter or practical filter, definitely will get our message signal. So at the output end we'll get our message signal. Okay, so this case is what? Favorable case. Okay, means full reconstruction of message signal is possible in this particular case, and this case is what? Oversampling. Okay, so generally we use this case. Okay, so we should avoid this case for mixing of the signal. So this case is what? Favorable case. Fs is greater than 2fm, oversampling. Next case is our Fx is less than 2fm. It means if your guard band is negative. Okay, guard band is negative, it means your distance is negative, means what? Your adjacent signal will interfere in the area of adjacent signal. Okay, so this signal, this message signal will interfere here, and this particular message signal is also interfering here. Okay, so this interference is known as aliasing. Okay, so at the output end, when we apply any ideal filter or practical filter, we'll get this type of message signal. So we should also avoid this condition, because there is also mixing of adjacent signal, adjacent waveform. So that is why we use only Fs is greater than or equal to 2Fm, not equal to, okay, because we avoid equality. Okay, so Fs is greater than 2Fm is only favorable case. Okay, so this sampling theorem states that we can reconstruct our message signal only when we use f of s is greater than 2 of fm. Okay, so while doing sampling, this is your this is your message signal m of t. This is your train signal, impulse train signal, and here we are going to use what, modulator, and after multiplication or modulation of these two signal we'll get discrete signal, right? Discrete signal. So in starting we should use this t of s, right? Okay, so in impulse train signal we should use condition, we should apply condition on this t of s. Okay, how? F of s is greater than 2 f of m. Okay, so suppose that if your fm is equal to 2 kilohertz, okay, then your fs is equal to 4 kilohertz. Okay, right? So with the knowledge of massive signal frequency, we can apply condition on T of S. So to reconstruct our original master signal, we always use T of S as Fs is greater than 2 of Fm. This is your alternate method. Okay. Already we saw in product modulator of master signal. This is our master signal, and this is your modulator and impulse signal, right? Okay, so this is your m of t and this is your del t minus nts, right? This is your impulse signal. After modulation of this signal we'll get what, m of t and this, okay, impulse signal, right? So sampled signal can be represented as like this. Okay, so this is your time domain signal. So using modulation property here, uh, in time domain signal, m of t into c of t can be represented as convolution of m omega and c omega divided by 2 pi. Okay, so this is your in time domain and this is your in frequency domain. Okay, so any time domain signal can be represented in frequency domain signal after convolution. Okay, so when we use convolution it will be in frequency domain, right? Okay, so already we have calculated Fourier transform of master signal, Fourier transform of your train impulse signal. Okay, so Fourier transform of this signal is what? Omega s del omega minus n omega s. Already in my first slide, already I have derived this particular expression. Okay, how can we represent? How can we calculate Fourier transform of any periodic signal, specifically this particular signal? Okay, so Fourier transform of this simple signal is what? This. Okay, and the Fourier transform of m of t, m of t is your measure signal. Fourier transform of this signal is also like this. Okay, so this is your what, m omega, right? So Fourier transform of measure signal and Fourier transform of impulse signal is also very well derived in previous slide. Okay, so sampled signal is what? Sampled signal, your sampled signal in a frequency domain, omega s divided by 2 pi, Fourier transform of massive signal and Fourier transform of impulse signal. Okay, so this is another property. Okay, because m omega is your massive signal and here this is your delta signal. So with the help of convolution property, okay, and impulse signal property, this signal means convolution of these two signal can be represented as this. Okay, So here this is our message signal, okay, convolving with del omega minus n omega s, right? So this whole expression is equal to m omega minus n omega s, right? So conclusion is that when we process or any message signal, okay, any message signal with a sampler circuit, okay, when we process any message signal with our sampler circuit, okay, directly we can use this identity m omega minus n omega s, okay, where omega s is what? Omega s is equal to 2 pi divided by ts, okay. Ts is your sampling period, okay. So here alternatively we can use this formula, okay. After sampling, your message signal will be like this, okay, m omega minus n omega s. This identity is very important, very important, okay. When we process any message signal, your message signal will be converted into this form, okay, in frequency domain, m omega minus n omega s. Very important for problem solving of any sampling theorem, okay. We can use this particular equation, we can use this particular identity. This identity will play a very important role while solving the problem of sampling theorem, okay. So finally we'll use this, okay. I'm not talking about this one by ts because in sampling process I'm interested only about frequency, not amplitude, okay. So alternatively we can what, we can expand your m what omega minus n omega s, okay. So here this n is varying from minus infinite to plus infinite, okay. When we vary this particular n, will get this type of waveform. Suppose that when n is equal to 0, this is what, m omega, okay. And we know that waveform of this m omega is what, like this, okay. When n is equal to 1, n is equal to 1 omega omega minus omega s, okay. So this whole waveform, this omega is shifting in right hand side with the unit of omega s, okay. So this whole waveform will shift in right hand side with the unit of omega s. It means this whole wm will be added with the unit of omega s, okay. Omega m plus omega s, okay. Right here omega s minus omega m, okay, omega s minus omega m, and this center frequency is omega s, okay. And in left hand side, when we use n is equal to minus 1, n is equal to minus 1, this massive signal is what, m omega plus omega s. It means whole waveform will shift in left hand side, okay. So this particular equation, this particular identity is very important for problem solving, okay. Here I'm going to take a problem from sampling theorem. Already this problem is from GATE 2017, okay. So problem is what, in this particular problem the signal x of t is equal to sine 14,000 pi t, okay. So this signal is what, this signal is your message signal m of t, okay. So m of t is equal to what, sine 14,000 pi t, okay. And in general m of t can be represented as sine 2 pi fm t, okay. When we compare these two equations, fm is equal to what, fm is equal to 7 kilohertz. So with the help of this equation only, this is your message signal, your fm is equal to 7 kilowatt, okay. Where t is in seconds, okay, is sampled at a rate of 9,000 sample per second. It means what, this is your sampling frequency, okay. So 9,000 hertz, it means what, so fs is equal to 9 kilowatt, So your sampling frequency already with the help of these statement. Okay, this is your master signal. This is your sampling frequency. Okay, so FM is equal to 7 kilohertz and FS is equal to 2 kilohertz. Okay, and the sample signal is the input and ideal low pass filter with frequency response HF as follows. Okay, so HF is equal to this. It means this particular sample signal process with this filter. This is what? This is your filter basically. HF is equal to 1 when magnitude of F is less than or equal to 12 kilohertz. Okay, so this is what your filter. Okay, so here this is your filter like this. Magnitude is 1, magnitude is 1 from minus 12 to plus 12. This is in kilohertz. Okay, and magnitude is 1. So this is what? This is your HF. In question, what is the number of sinusoids, okay, in the output and their frequencies in kilohertz? So question is very easy. You will be given FM, it is 7 kilohertz, and FS 9 kilohertz, okay, and this filter. And we want to process this signal, this massive signal after sampling with this filter, and you have to identify number of sinusoid passed with this filter and frequency component. Okay, so here this is your sample signal, and this sample signal is processed with filter, and we are interested at the output of filter. This is your input. I'm interested about this output. So let's start. Here this is your sinusoid, and we know that Fourier transform of this sinusoid is what? This minus 7k at another frequency component at 7k. Okay, so these are our two impulses, because this is what? Sinusoid signal. So Fourier transform of this sinusoidal signal is XF, and there will be two impulses at minus 7k and at 7k. Okay, and impulse signal, because Fs is already known, so impulse signal is what? Separated with Fs. Okay, and this Fs is what? 9. So if it is 9k and this it is 18, okay, and again will be 27 minus 9 minus 80k. Okay, like this. Okay, so with the help of these information we can draw a spectra of master signal, this x of t, and a spectra of impulse signal, and convolution of, because I'm talking about frequency component. Okay, so here we should take convolution of this frequency. So convolution of this frequency, here master signal and here impulse signal. Finally we'll get this. Okay, and by using this identity, what here m of t into convolution of del t minus t of n t of s. Okay, we'll get what? M omega minus n omega s. Okay, in frequency term this will be m f minus n f of s. In my previous slide already I have told you that we'll use this expression directly. So after sampling, it will be your output. When we modulate, when we multiply massive signal with impulse signal, we'll get this signal in terms of frequency. So here m f minus n fs. M fs, fs is what? Fs is 9 kilowatt. Okay, fs is your 9 kilowatt, 9n. Okay, so this is what? M f minus 9n. Okay, so when n is equal to 0, n is equal to 0, this is equal to mf. Okay, mf is this. Okay, here we'll consider only right hand part, positive value of f, not negative value of f. Okay, so we can use a positive as well as negative. So here I'm going to use only positive value, not negative value. Okay, so if n is equal to 0, mf is like this, only 7 kilowatt. Okay, so this impulse represents at n is equal to 0. Okay, so n is equal to 0, one impulse at f is equal to 7 kilowatt, right? Okay, so this is 7 kilowatt. Next, when n is equal to 1, when n is equal to 1, n is equal to 1, master signal m f minus what, 9, because this n is equal to 1. Okay, so n is equal to 1, f m f minus 9. It means this whole signal will separate toward right hand side. Okay, so 7 into 9, 16. Okay, 7 into 9, 16. This will be 16. This is what, outside of this filter. Okay, so because range of this particular filter is varying from minus 12k to 12k, and here n is equal to 1, your Weiser signal will gives you two impulses. One at 7k plus 9, it is 16, and next is your minus 7 plus 9, it means 2. Okay, so again we'll get 2k, right? So at n is equal to 1, we'll get two impulse at 16k and at 2k. Okay, right? So this is your at 2k, and this impulse at 16k. Next is your n is equal to 2. When n is equal to 2, your message signal will be f minus 18, right? F minus 18. It means this whole signal will shift in right hand side with the unit of 18. Okay, so 18 plus 7 is what, 25k, right? And next impulse 18 minus 7k, this is what, 11k. Okay, so we'll get two waveform, two impulse. Okay, when we use n is equal to 2. So n is equal to 2, one waveform, one impulse at 25k. This is your n is equal to 2, 25k, and next impulse at 11k. This will be your 11k, right? When we use n is equal to 3, when we use n is equal to 3, your message signal will be f minus 27, right? Okay, so whole message will shift in right hand side with the unit of 27. Okay, so 27 plus 7 is what, 34, right? 34k, and next impulse is what, 27 minus 7, this is your 20. Okay, so one impulse at 34k. Suppose that this impulse represents at f is equal to 34k. Okay, and another will be at n is equal to 20. Okay, n is equal to 20, sorry, f is equal to 20, f is equal to 20k, right? 20k. Okay, so here we can see that at n is equal to 20, n is equal to 3, there will be two impulses at f is equal to 20k and f is equal to 34k. It means these two impulses are outside of this filter. It means there will be no need to calculate further for n is equal to 4, n is equal to 5, because we'll get impulses within this box only for n is equal to 0, n is equal to 1, and n is equal to 2. Okay, so from this particular analysis, here we can conclude that we'll get only three frequency component within this filter: 2k at n is equal to 1, 7k at n is equal to 0, and 11k at n is equal to 2. It means there will be three sinusoids we can get within this filter range. Okay, so your B answer will correct. Number will 3, and the frequencies will be 2k, 7k, and 11k. This will be your final answer. Okay, so This expression, this identity is very very important. We can apply this formula directly while solving the sampling problems. Okay, so we should keep in mind this particular identity. Okay, so this formula is very useful for us. Okay, thank you very much.